What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Toronto Pro results. And as expected after the prejudging, Akeem Williams and his coach Chris delivered. And Akeem Williams wins the Toronto Pro convincingly to punch his ticket to Mr. Olympia 2024. Now as good as Quinton was looking here at Toronto Pro, I have no idea how some of the people in the audience, they had Quinton winning this show. Now despite him having a bigger frame, him having a bigger structure, and I totally agree with that, he was a lot bigger. But we cannot ignore the fact that he was lacking density in multiple areas, especially in comparison to both Akeem Williams as well as Jewett. And now that the scorecards are also out, we can see it was a perfect win for Akeem Williams, both at the prejudging as well as the finals. He was in the lead. So a big congratulations to Akeem Williams for making it to the big stage. Now that being said, as good as Akeem Williams is from the front as well as from the side, the work still needs to be done from the back, because there was a point during the prejudging when Quinton was looking humongous from the back, standing next to Akeem Williams, and we all know Quinton isn't the best from behind. And Akeem Williams is no small guy. He is arguably one of the most muscular guy out there. So that is a point where Akeem needs to work on the most. Now Quinton should be extremely proud of what he was able to achieve in just 3 weeks. From the New York Pro to Toronto Pro, his previous coach Matt Jensen completely miscalculated everything. In order to achieve that next level conditioning, he pushed him so damn hard that Quinton lost all the muscle leading into the show. And that is a proof right there that doing 2 hours of cardio and eating only 100 grams of carbs, that isn't always productive. But as a bodybuilder, the mindset is kinda wired in a different way. Sometimes you think that if you suffer hard enough, if you suffer more, it will always be beneficial. And that is exactly what happened at the New York Pro for Quinton. So Quinton here at Toronto Pro wasn't at his best. He wasn't in the best conditioning. He was soft in certain areas. But coming in very full and big as a house, that allowed him to showcase his massive structure and his jaw-dropping proportions. I mean, just take a look at that waistline. That is just nuts. So he was clearly in the second place both at the prejudging as well as the finals, which by the way is a huge accomplishment for him, because people were totally counting him out. So Quinton's New York Pro look is another prime example of how a bad peak can totally mess your physique up. And even though he was a lot more impressive here at Toronto Pro, but still I 100% believe that we haven't seen the best of Quinton just yet, not even close. He only had 3 weeks to bring back the fullness and the size that he lost. And I have to say he did a pretty good job of doing that. So, before this year's New York Pro, Quinton said that he is gonna continue to compete until he qualifies for this year's Mr. Olympia. And I hope that is still his mindset, because Vancouver Pro is in 5 weeks time, and that will be another opportunity for Quinton to bring an even better and even more impressive package there. And judging by the way these guys were placed, Quinton ahead of Jewett, I think Quinton has a solid shot of winning his first pro show in Vancouver Pro and also qualify for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. So to anyone out there who believes that height does not matter, just look at the comparison between Akeem and Quinton. It was mind-boggling to see someone looking so huge next to Akeem Williams. And I think we have established previously that Akeem Williams is one of the most muscular guy out there. He isn't a small guy. So looking big standing next to a guy like Akeem, that is huge. So all in all, I believe this was one successful showing by Quinton Jewett was placed third here and he brought an absolutely amazing package. And I think all of us expected that from him. Very well conditioned, absolutely bone shredded. Specifically, the backside was off the charts. And looking at his current size, it is unbelievable that this guy was even making the 212 pounds weight cutoff until last year. So John made some serious size improvements during this year's off-season. He was able to pack on muscle in all the right areas. And he was extremely impressive with the package that he brought here tonight. And that is exactly what matters. Looking better than your previous looks.
Alright everyone, I'm on my hotel room floor, back from prejudging, and really happy with how it went. Going out on stage felt awesome. Feel like just, it's such my place to do what I'm meant to do. And I feel like I just nailed everything I wanted to. Of course, I could see the pics and it could look terrible, but how it felt out there felt really good and confident and holding poses. So happy so far. We'll go to finals and we'll let it all play out.
And maybe he would have won the 212 plus here, but his physique would not have looked as good as he was looking in the men's open. And we have to keep in mind, this is just the start of the season for him. John is doing Vancouver Pro next, which by the way was originally his plan as well. And I have to say, any show that John enters, his competition just cannot afford to come in off, or he is gonna expose you big time. Robin Strand coming in fourth was like the biggest surprise of the show. Another guy who is very consistent with his peaking. He is always spot on. Even if we look back at his presentations from last year, he looked extremely impressive there as well. So Robin isn't the biggest guy out there, or he isn't the most muscular guy in the men's open. But still, I have to say, Mustafa did not have him beating a guy like Hassan Mustafa before this year's show. And that is a huge accomplishment. So this was also just the first show of the season for him. So let's see what show he decides to do next. So talking about Hassan Mustafa, I have to say he just wasn't on here. The moment he stepped on the stage for the prejudging, he was just the old version of Hassan from 2021. All that muscle, but conditioning just wasn't there. Another thing that I believe we all noticed about Hassan is that his midsection just wasn't there this time. And all those speculations leading into the show, where people said that he is far from being in shape for 2 weeks out, they all came true last night. So he is one of the most difficult bodybuilders to pick right according to Chris Aceto. And I don't think there is any doubt about that. Good thing is that it is just the start of the season for Hassan. He's also one of those guys who is going to be doing Vancouver Pro, which is happening in 5 weeks time. So Hassan wasn't able to make top 5 here in Toronto. And that is the thing. He doesn't have the best aesthetics, he doesn't have the best flow. He has a blocky waistline. So if he isn't on point everywhere else, he can drop outside of the top 5 very easily. So Hassan came in 6th here. Tim Budesheim was the one who placed 5th. Definitely one of the most straight guy on the stage, right next to John Jewett. But he just needs more width, he needs more lats. Because he needs to have more V-taper if he wants to stand out. Plus he still needs to work more on his back. So if this show was decided based on conditioning alone, Tim would have easily placed in the top 3. But we all know that is not how the judging is done. Conditioning is just one aspect of it. So let's talk about 212. Extremely happy for Christian Zagarella, who finally wins the show this year and qualifies for the Olympia 2024. 2 runner-up spots last year in the post-Olympia tour, and then not placing where he expected 2 weeks ago at the New York Pro. So this victory must have felt very sweet. Now, as good as he is right now, I do like to think that he still has more room to grow before he hits that 212 weight cap, because he is arguably one of the most aesthetic and classic looking guy in this division. But the thing is, he still needs more density, more thickness in almost all the areas, especially if he wants to crack top 5 at the Olympia stage in the 212 class. He has a very small waistline, very round and thick delts, one of the best in the 212. So cannot wait to see him on the Olympia stage this year, against the best of the best in the game. Now let's talk about Classic Physique, where we saw the birth of a new star, Niall Darwen. Now that is a physique that fits every criteria of being totally classic. The waist we saw on this guy was arguably the smallest we have ever seen in a while. Those are some insane proportions. Plus everything about this guy, about him last night, was absolute perfection. He was 100% peaked right. Absolutely bone-shredded front to back. Now if you guys love bodybuilding, which I'm sure you do, I would recommend you guys to watch his routine. Especially the one available on Bodybuilders Without Borders Instagram page, with that music. That is so inspiring. What makes his physique so great is not only his small waistline, his quads are so bubbly and the sweep is so damn good. It enhances his overall V-taper so much. So I am really excited to see more from this guy in Classic Physique, and cannot wait to see him on the Olympia stage. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.